Here we
Fair
go.
enough.
Put on your game face.
Be serious.
Be serious. Stop making me laugh. Okay. All right. Okay.
Good job.
Hey, everybody. What's up? This is Tiffany. I'm here with Jeff Gonzales, and we are both tired and sleepy and trying to get ourselves together to make this video. So bear with us. Jeff is returning to the TacCon cadre, and he's bringing a new class this year. He's going to tell you all about that. But first, for anybody that doesn't know Jeff, first of all, shame on you. But secondly, no worries. We can rectify that because he's going to introduce himself right now. Jeff, who are you?
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Tiffany. It's always a pleasure to see your smiling face. It's going to make it awkward. Just going to wait a little bit.
You keep making me laugh. That's why I'm smiling. Okay, I'm gonna try to.
Anyhow, my name is Jeff Gonzales. I'm president of TacCon22. My background comes from NSW. Spent the better half of my adult life on the East Coast, the West Coast as an operator, fishing instructor. Left the Navy. Did the same job basically for another agency. Did that for a while. Stood up Trident Concepts, and as of this month, I think we are officially in our 22nd year of business. So it's hard to believe it's been that long. I know.
Nice.
I know. It's yeah.
No spring chicken
know,
anymore, huh?
Thank you for reminding me of that.
But in spirit, you're as young as they come.
There we go. I am so immature. It's not even funny.
Oh,
I am so immature.
Me, you're not telling me anything I don't know, but I'm glad you said it and not me. So now I don't have to say it. So, but for your TacCon class, you're going to be totally mature the whole time, right?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Subcompact recoil control. Tell us what folks can expect from that 2-hour live fire block on Sunday morning.
So it is going to be, first of all, focused on, subcompacts, yes, but really the micro compacts, the even smaller platforms that are very popular these days. We've been doing a lot of shooting with these things, and there is some challenges, obviously, smaller surface area, less material. So there are some inherent challenges with shooting them, but with just a few little tweaks here and there, you would be surprised at how effectively you can shoot these things. And I've been shooting them now fairly consistently. I would say almost at a 50-50 split between the full size and the compacts. So, over that time period, we've kind of I wouldn't say we've discovered any magical remedies, but what we've done is we've taken what we take for granted when we shoot those fuller size guns, and we've really identified those critical points there, focused on them, and voila, all of a sudden you shoot those micros pretty good. So we're having a lot of fun doing it. It's become really popular, the subject matter, and we will actually, it's funny that we're talking about this because SIG is going to be hosting another of their P365 competitions, EDC competitions, and they asked me to come out and do virtually an 8-hour block of what we're going to be doing there at TacCon. So it's going to be great. We're going to cover some of the material there for sure in a 2-hour block, but obviously I'm excited to be able to do 8 hours of that. That's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So
yeah. Are you trying to tell me that our age-old advice to folks to carry the largest gun that you can conceal, are you saying that's becoming obsolete now? Are you giving us a run for our money with that advice?
Pretty much said that it was obsolete for a long time. I think people are just now starting to figure that out. I think, so here's the thing. I tell people this all the time. All right. The clientele that we're going to see at the conference is what I would consider to be an above average clientele. They've been through a variety, they've been through some sort of formalized instruction. They kind of have a grasp of what their needs are, and they are not so much concerned about what their wants are. There are a lot of people that want to be able to do that, carry and shoot full-size guns, but is there really a need to do that? And I think these micro compacts have really turned that on its head. I'm telling you, because now we're also doing testing for a lot of these manufacturers on how they shoot comparatively. So comparing them with apples to apples, like how well do they shoot? And it's becoming very hard for me to find true justification in a small compact size firearm as to why you would want to shoot something that's, this heavy. I mean, some of these things now are coming in with 13 round magazines, even there's 15 round magazines in these small little things. And it's like, okay. So yeah.
You're stealing my really reasons to buy a bigger gun.
I will. Yeah, I'm a grand theft at that one, but it is fun because I think the other interesting note is to recognize that a lot of the newer shooters that are coming in to the market, when they came in during the pandemic, they didn't have a lot of choices as what was available, you know, it was whatever they could get on the shelf. Mm-hmm. Now that they've become a little bit more informed, and now that, you know, inventory is starting to return, the hot sellers are the subcompact, micro compact pistols. They're just outperforming everybody else, and with good reason. You know, they do a great job.
Cool. So in other words, maybe you can actually shoot a teeny tiny gun well and conceal it. Yay. So one quick question. If folks are at TacCon and they don't carry a sub or micro compact, can they still come to your class and shoot it with a regular size gun?
Absolutely. I mean, you obviously are not going to gain the full value behind, like, you'll appreciate it, but you won't have as much of an appreciation shooting that larger frame. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll make sense to you. And maybe when you go back and you start playing with your own micro or subcompact, you kind of take that. Yeah. Absolutely. And I would recommend, you know, even folks that are on the fence about, do I want to go down? Because there is this like, oh, if I don't shoot this gun, I'm not cool. Or
I'll be excommunicated.
Yeah, I'll be persona non grata because I have something that doesn't, you know, it's not so cool.
It's
it doesn't
have, you know, gun.
Right. Or it's just out of the box. There's nothing fancy on it.
That's right.
And that's the other thing too, you know, these things out of the box are killing it. You know, there's like very little you need to do to these things. There, back in the day when these micro compacts first came out, they were atrocious. They were horrible. And I won't name names about manufacturers, but they didn't care. You know, they were fulfilling a niche that was kind of like not really a niche. It was like, nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But ever since then, I'm telling you, the ones to keep your eye on, obviously the SIG 365, that is killing it. The new Shield Plus is fantastic. I wanted to not like the Hellcat. I really didn't want to like it, but in truth, it has been an extremely positive performer. So, you know, all of these little guns are really kind of coming into their own, and people are like, And, you know, the thing about what I always tell people is, you know, there's this idea that you need to dress around the gun. And when you can have that attitude, but when you work with something like those micro compacts, dressing around the gun is not an issue anymore. You really can just live your lifestyle and just be armed in whatever you do. And it opens up so many options, everything, you know, ankle carry, pocket carry, off body carry, all these other crazy carry methods that you really can't do with anything other than a micro compact gun. Or back in the day, a 5-shot snubby revolver. You know, it was like the only one that you could kind of do something crazy like pocket carry and ankle carry and off body carry, or even deep concealment carry. But now, man, the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. All right, folks, you heard it here first. The whole trope of, oh, you can't carry a small gun because you can just get a whole new wardrobe and cover up a bigger gun. And that way you have more capacity and you'll be a real man or whatever. Jeff's gonna dispossess you of some of those old notions.
It will be my intention for sure.
So if you want to catch Jeff's block, he is Sunday morning right before lunch. And I don't have your roster handy, but I think there's space in your class. So how
many are we filling to? What's the capacity?
If you're up, I believe you're up on the North Bay, so 18 is the cap.
I think we have 18.
Okay, so full, however, comma. A, if
there's always
didn't show up, you can sneak in, and B, you can always go and watch. So anybody can go and watch any other time.
You could also come into the classroom block that I'm going to do and ask a bunch of questions that are unrelated to the classroom presentation that I'm going to do, because that happens also. It's somehow when I sit there, because that's a completely different subject. Not even, well, it's kind of close. And it was great because, you know, like, I think it was after I did the first live fire that I had the first classroom. It was like morning and then classroom was in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And there were several people that just were interested in asking questions about the morning stuff, which I didn't mind, of course, but you know.
Well, you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, let's not do that this year. And maybe we cut down on that since your classroom block is actually before your live fire block this time. So
that's right. You're right. right?
Yeah, we switched it. So maybe that'll cut down on that. So let's touch on that. Your classroom block is, well, there's some debates, ladies and gentlemen, about what the title of this block is. And since I have control of all the publications, the title is Reducing Risk on the Range.
How is this a debate then? How is this a debate? Since I have the power, I have the power. Okay. How is that a debate?
So there's a story behind this whole thing. I apologize, but Jeff and I have fun with this every year. Long story short, just like his subcompact recoil control class, this class, reducing risk on the range, it's actually a small part of a much larger curriculum that Jeff teaches. So he and I go back and forth about whether to change the name, but too late now. I already changed it. So tell us about what this block is.
So, you know, in our travels over the last 20 plus years, you know, we've documented and observed a lot of mishaps, not within our class, but being able to work with the industry as a whole. And we started documenting kind of like some of the problems, and the intention, I should say, was to apply, you know, a logical sequence towards trying to reduce risk on the firing line, particularly for new and upcoming instructors. But even if as a student, like a lifelong student, the value behind understanding, you know, what we call, you know, the Jeopardy pyramid, or triangle, I should say, and understanding kind of like how all these things happen, and also just taking into consideration what is a high risk versus, and within the high risk category, what is controllable and what is not controllable. And then trying to make smart decisions about how you should manage this. So like, for instance, we just got done with a class this past weekend, and we had a language barrier in some cases. So being able to ensure, so what that entailed was we had to mitigate some of that risk because we no longer had absolute certainty that instruction should. So what that meant was I wouldn't say we watered down, but we scaled the program to accommodate those barriers that were there. Like, I can't ignore them. I could try to like get all bent out of shape because why can't you follow instructions? But in reality, it's not that they don't want to follow instructions. It's that some of it is just not coded right for them to understand. Right. So things like that are super important, and being able to have the flexibility within your curriculum, which is why I like the term agility, to flex, you know, to move according to your clientele, your student base, what are the masses, but yet still be able to manage the outliers, you know, those that are either well below their skill level or well above their skill level. So I love this class in our instructor level program. It's the only place you can get it outside of this conference. So I'm really excited to bring this to the broader audience versus just our instructor candidates. This is the only chance that you'll get a chance to sit in on that and get that intel, get that information. And the last year we did it, and we got really good feedback. And some of the interesting comments were some of the anecdotes that were added to our, like at the end, we evaluate some case studies. We talk about these case studies. What could you have done to try to mitigate what happened and how they happened? And just kind of as an exercise. Yeah. Just as an yes. Hey, place. Hey, place. My son is coming home, so she's getting all excited. But to be able to manage that with those anecdotes is just, you know, going through the exercise and just thinking about, okay, well, what could I have done? You know, what were some other strategies that I could have employed? You know, not trying to criticize what happened, but just take it as a lesson learned. And if you were in that situation prior to it with this knowledge, what would you have done differently?
And again, I have to say, you know, anytime we start talking about risk on the range, everybody always thinks about gunshot wounds. But in case you're making that assumption, Jeff's curriculum covers far, far beyond that. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but I think you'd probably be doing yourself a disservice to only focus on gunshot wounds. There's a much greater risk of other things happening that you would have to address. Is that fair?
So we do. It does focus heavily on the most catastrophic of them all, which is the gunshot wounds. And most of those gunshot wounds, we study are self-inflicted gunshot wounds. But there's a greater like the environment, how it affects your students, how extreme heat, extreme cold, the longevity of the training course, all of these things. You know, we as instructors, we're always scratching for every moment that we can get with our students. And so it's like really hard to give up stuff, but you have to, in a sense, recognize when you're, the cup is just full and overflowing and you're not getting a lot. There's still things that you can do. You can reiterate and you can review and all this other business. But, one of the things that we really talk about is, what are the simple things that you can do, the easy things, like, and how to mitigate that type of risk that aren't always related to, gunshot wounds. There's a heavy emphasis on that, but it's not the only thing. A lot of other things happen on the range that we need to be aware of. And, one of the things too, that I found to be really valuable as a debrief point from last year's class was somebody from the audience came up to me and started talking to me about how they felt, they were in a class that there was a concern on their end. The safety issue was a concern. And they really were upset because the manner in which that safety issue was addressed was not it didn't give them a warm and fuzzy,
Right.
And so their training experience was severely kind of altered as a result, because they're constantly looking and making sure, can I trust this, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And so from a student's perspective, there are things that you can do, there are things that you can address and whatnot. But I always try to tell the instructors that it's not just about that student, it's about how that student impacts the entire class and the learning experience. Because if they're there to learn. So if they're not able to learn because they're so concerned with safety, it makes it difficult. And I hate, nobody wants to send a student home for safety or for any other issues, but you have to be comfortable doing that when the circumstances are right. And, you have to be able to provide them with justification. Hey, listen, this is just not for you right now, or you need to kind of consider maybe going down to a lower level class, or let's just work with some private one-on-one to help you get up to speed. I mean, there's a lot of strategies that you can use, but the bottom line is that if you fail to address it, if you fail to do something about it, you're culpable no matter what. And, I mean, even though we're going to be doing this class and there's this high, this perception of a high skill level of all the participants at the conference, even though I have that as a base knowledge, we still don't deviate from certain safety protocols. We still follow them regardless. We still, and sometimes that hurts people's feelings. I know we had that question that was posted, and I don't apologize if somebody's upset about that, because I hope that they can recognize that that's not a personal offense to them. It's just a matter in which that we can manage safety at a much simpler and easier. And it's not the context. The context of this class is not drawing. It doesn't matter per se. So, try not to get so butthurt about that, because that's a risk mitigation that we're doing in the class. That's a perfect example. That question that was posted is actually part of that risk mitigation strategy. Cool. So there you go. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, there you have it, folks. Hopefully everybody sees why both of these classes are going to be super awesome. So if you want to catch Jeff's live fire class, that's on Sunday morning at 10:15, and his classroom block, sorry, I should say the name of the class, His live fire block is subcompact recoil control and micro compact recoil control. I added that last part. And because you know how I feel about clarity and titles of classes. So,
I don't know why. I mean, it's just words. They're just words, Tiffany. I mean, geez.
Then his second class, well, actually his first class, his classroom block is Saturday afternoon, right after lunch. And it is called, drum roll,
please,
Reducing Risk on the Range. But there's a subtitle. The subtitle is Instructor Agility. How about that? Jeff,
fair enough.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend, and can't wait to see you in Dallas. Thanks so much for doing this video. I know we're a little late posting it, but I'm going to get this out there so everybody knows what they can look forward to in your classroom blocks.
Yeah, and just so people know, like I'm on a social media hiatus right now, so don't freak out if I don't respond to a post or a comment or anything like that. I'm just kind of laying low for now. I'll probably pop back up on the grid for the conference. So there you go. I'll bring it out. We'll do our first post with you, Tiffany.
Sounds good. Excellent. I love it. All right. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, buddy. Be good.
All right. You too.